this church. Come experience the Lord for yourself. Come experience the Lord for yourself. FWBC. Come experience the Lord for yourself.
Of your anointed imagination as she boards this first-class car on the train, and she takes her seat in the car. When she took her seat in the car, my brothers and sisters, there were others in the car who did not look like her, that had issues with this black woman being in this first-class car. But Ida was of the mindset that your issues with me ain't an issue for me. I think that's a good motto to live by in 2015. Because if you live long enough and have your own mind and think for yourself, there will be people, watch this, who will not like who you are simply because you have the audacity to be you. And they may be insecure in who they are, and your security in who you are will magnify who they ain't. I think I said something right there. I've made up my mind what you ain't gonna mess up who I am. And so with that being the case, my brothers and sisters, here is Ida B. Wells boarding the train car in first class. The white passengers are looking at her like she's crazy, but she takes her seat like she's sane. And then about a mile after the train had departed from the station, the conductor comes through to collect the tickets. And when the conductor comes to her, he asks for her ticket. He looks at her with a nasty look. She has purchased a first-class ticket. He cannot deny that. He then says, I don't want to be anything but a gentleman, and I want to treat you like a lady, but you don't belong in this car. She said, did you read my ticket? It says I belong in this car. He said, well, I'm not going to let you stay here. And he tried to take her by her shoulders and lift her up. At that moment, she made up her mind. She was not going to go along with injustice. And Ida B. Wells then hooked both of her feet up under the seat in front of her, and he tried to pull her, but he was no match for her feet hooked up under that seat. And so he then asked others in the car to help him. Do you know these trifling lowlifes had the nerve to get up, and you had 5 men now trying to pull Ida B. Wells out of that train car. They yanked her out of her seat, and they tried to pull her back to the coach car, and she said, I refuse to go back to the coach car. In the process, they ripped the sleeve off of her dress. They cut, watch this, one of her legs, but she wasn't going down without a fight. She bit the hand of one of them that had grabbed her, and the bite was so severe it drew blood. And then with her other hand, she scratched the eye of the conductor, because she made up her mind, you may drag me out of here, but you're going to have some evidence that I've been here. I kind of like that right there. And so Ida B. Wells got dragged off of the train, refusing to ride in coach. And there she was. Can you imagine that? As the train pulls off, her clothes have been torn. She is bloodied from a scar from her feet being ripped out from under the front seat in front of her. So she has the scars to prove where she has been. This became a defining moment in the life of Ida B. Wells, one of the great sheroes of our history. But imagine how she must have felt in that defining moment. On the one hand, something that she had worked hard for had been taken from her. I stop right there because that's life, baby Baba. If you live long enough, you're going to work hard for stuff, and guess what? Life has a way of being unfair and unjust, and life will take from you what you worked so hard to get. I'm not even done. On top of that, Ida B. Wells discovered that you can set out to go one place, but end up in another place. Here she is. She has paid her fare to go first class to her destination, but instead she did not get where she was going because of other folks' issues. I got to stop right there because Ida ain't by herself. Who am I talking to who can testify that that's your story? You also have paid your fare. You also have paid your dues and played by the rules, but where you are today ain't where you planned on being. Why? Because of what other folk did or other folk did not do. That's why you've got to be careful who you ride with, because you can't get to the right place if you're with the wrong people. You can't reach a positive space if you're hanging with negative people. That's what happened to Ida B. Wells. There is Ida B. Wells torn sleeve. There is Ida B. Wells bloodied and disheveled, but that became a defining moment in the life of this freedom fighter and journalist. Ida B. Wells lets all of us know that all of us have defining moments. And I raise the question one more time. I hope you are prayerfully pondering, why is it that you are the way that you are? Who are you, and what informs who you are as a result of what you've been through? The best way I can phrase it is, what have you been through that ain't quite through with
Friendship West Baptist Church.